Well, we can keep talking about Iowa, Nebraska, but it seems like just about the first 15 people that jumped into the chat all threw out about the same name. And it had nothing to do with Iowa and Nebraska on Friday. Had everything to do with
what name you're dropping right now.
So I scurried to Google to find, okay, is there anything out there that's in any way substantiated linking Urban Meyer to Nebraska? Well, I'm not finding anything.
Well, do you want to hear the newest rumors today?
Absolutely.
After that, I think the first one came off of our own Husker Online message board that it was going to be Tom Osborne going to put 3 years in. And then later on the call-in show on local radio, apparently Frank Solich was in town at some event, and somebody asked him if he was here for the coaching search, and he said he couldn't comment. So there you go. I'll throw those two names into the basket right now.
Well,
maybe 20 years ago, we're maybe on track.
Yeah, Tom Osborne hasn't coached a game since '97.
I guarantee you that Coach Osborne is not coming out of retirement. Coach Solich just retired as well. So yeah, those guys they're done.
We've seen that from Bob Stoops. We've seen that from Barry Alvarez for a bowl game. Just show up for a bowl game, have some fun. That's probably actually kind of fun for them to get juiced up for about 3 weeks, coach a football team for one game, go somewhere nice, coach one bowl game, and then we're done. Running a football program is completely different. That's a grind.
But now going back to Urban Meyer.
Yes.
Last week at this time when we were talking, I would have told you you're stupid to even mention that. There's been a lot of steam coming on this. And now, granted, these are all rumors, right? Before we talk about anything, there's nothing substantiated about any of this. But I've heard a lot of conversations about Urban Meyer that actually kind of turns my opinion on Urban from a guy just like I said a week ago that I thought would have no interest in this type of a job.
Yeah.
But a lot of things make a lot of sense here. Does Urban Meyer want to go out with his legacy in Jacksonville the way it ended?
True.
I don't think
Probably not. Okay, good point.
Does he know the Big Ten? Does he want to come to the Big Ten? And does he want to beat Ohio State? He's a competitive guy. I think you check all those boxes too. Now, he's been on the record that he admires Nebraska's program. He has a ton of respect for it.
Yep.
And, he was here for the Oklahoma game. And I think that was kind of when the rumors all started. That it was like after that week, once Scott Frost got fired. Well, he was already fired, but those kind of rumors started up right after that Oklahoma game. And with the amount of support that this program has and the facilities that are going up, that are going to be top-notch, top in the nation facilities, you know what? It makes a lot of sense that why not come here for 4 years? Because you're probably not going to coach longer than that if you're an Urban Meyer. But you want to cement your legacy. And with the idea of Urban Meyer coming back here and grooming Mickey Joseph to take the job over when he leaves, makes a ton of sense to me now that I think it through.
Well, I don't know the man and what motivates him other than it's pretty, although it's pretty obvious. You brought up a few points, a guy that's achieved as much as he has, and he's got the best winning percentage in the history of college football after like the roaring 20s I'm talking about. Obviously he's motivated by winning.
Absolutely.
When we talk about family and legacy and all those other things, we can only guess. We can only speculate what the average person is interested in, location and those sorts of things. But we know he's motivated by winning championships. And you're right, a legacy. in just black and white, wins and losses on a piece of paper, his legacy's just about as good as anybody that's ever coached. But legacy's about more than that. And yeah, the look at Jacksonville was not pretty, was not good. And so he also has to think that I went to Florida and won championships. I went to Ohio State, won a national championship. And if I could go to Nebraska, like I will have a legacy like nobody else ever if I can do it at 3 schools like that.
Power 5 schools, yeah. And you know, like you mentioned, you know, that Jacksonville thing was just a debacle. Now he's made mistakes, right? And I would say like a month ago, most Nebraska fans wouldn't forgive those mistakes that he's made. But now I think they do, which, you know, and then you hear the conversation, like, you know, most of the time when you brought up Urban Meyer, you know, at least around here, you get one of 2 answers. It's either, oh, hell yes, or oh, hell no.
Yeah, there's no middle ground on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Although, if you want to look at strictly a college legacy, he could actually mess up his legacy to a certain extent.
He could, but you know what?
His legacy, in terms of just coaching on the field in college,
that way,
legacy can't be any much better.
I don't think he thinks that way. I don't think he's going to take a job thinking that he's going to go in there and fail.
Yeah,
you know,
people like him don't think like that,
right? And you're talking about, you know, heck, you're talking about a blue blood program in college football that actually has still, even though the wins and losses haven't been there, but they still have been recruiting at a pretty high level. And if you bring an Urban Meyer in here, my goodness, how do you think the recruiting all of a sudden changes? Especially if you've got Mickey Joseph on your staff. I mean, all of a sudden you've got 5-star guys coming to visit, you know, here all spring and summer. If Urban Meyer's, you know, walking around carrying the clipboard here.
The only thing I'll say about that, and if you remember the one comment that I made as soon as Scott Frost was dismissed, and we started naming coaches, and Urban Meyer was one of the first ones that people threw out there. The only thing I said is, to me, all the check marks are in Nebraska's column of why he would want to go there. And you named a ton of them. The fan support is ridiculous. The facilities, they will spend and do whatever's required to win. The history, the legacy, all that, okay, lines up. NIL in this new world, they're taking care of business there and doing the things to get ahead of that. The only thing would be, can you convince him that he can bring enough players from Florida, Texas, wherever, to come play at Nebraska?
In his mind, I think he believes that 100%. But that is, you know, that's the question for all of us. But, you know, you do bring, you know, if you're a guy with his clout and, you know, he's a household name for all these up and coming high school players. They all know who Urban Meyer is. They didn't know who any of these past coaches were for Nebraska. Even Scott Frost, you know, nationwide, you know, the only thing people, you know, those kids knew about Scott Frost is that, you know, he made UCF good. So, yeah, I think Urban Meyer, I think his prowess just right there all of a sudden changes a lot of kids' minds, not just to sign and commit to Nebraska, but come to campus and check it out. And like we've mentioned a lot of times on this show, when Nebraska can get a recruit on campus, it's a mind-changing experience for those recruits, because the vast majority of these kids coming from all across the country have a vision of Nebraska that it's sitting in the middle of a cornfield and there's nothing going around here. There's nothing to do. It's quite the opposite. I mean, every time these guys show up and they see everything that's going on here, they're completely blown away. So, and then on top of it, with the academic benefits that you get attending the school, it's a real big time positive for mom and dad for those recruits back home, and having a comfort level of sending your kid somewhere that they've never been before. And like I said, another big key of that is Mickey Joseph, who understands that and is probably the best in his profession of going in, to those houses and convincing mom and dad that I'll take care of your son for the next 4 or 5 years and teach him how to be a man.
I'm rooting for it to happen, not because I'm a Nebraska fan and care if they win or lose. As I posted on Twitter the other day, when I got sick of people telling me that I hate their football team and I hate their football team and I hate their football, I basically said, you know what? I hate everyone. Or no, I basically stated I'm sick and tired, or I'm bored of hearing that I hate everybody, that I hate your football team just because I don't rank them where I picked them to lose a game. I said, basically, I don't care about your football team. I never cared about them, and I won't care about them, but I love college football. And what I would want to see is, I just think it would be a intriguing experiment to see Urban Meyer at Nebraska. I think it would be fascinating.
I do too. And you know what? I mean, obviously, this is a hot topic around here, but I basically started thinking this way earlier today. I mean, yesterday, I wasn't even thinking about Urban Meyer. That's how quickly things change. And obviously, Urban Meyer's a guy that is not tied anywhere right now, and can openly interview and talk to Trev Alberts as much as he wants to. And, we don't know. Maybe there is something in place already. It's hard to say. I mean, it's the rumor mill. It's the carousel. It's always going around. But this is one of the latest things that, to me, has all of a sudden just changed my mind to where it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense now. And I don't know. We don't know what Urban Meyer wants to do. I mean, obviously he's got it made what he's doing now, but we all know the competitor in him, and he's never been a guy that is happy not coaching, right? I mean, he's good at being a media guy, at being on TV and stuff, but how long has he ever stuck with any of that? That it's instilled in his brain, just like a lot of coaches. I mean, they're hardwired to do that job, and it's hard to give up.
Well, Greg, if your theory holds true, and I'm certainly on board with it, that we're going to know next Saturday or Sunday, I think you're about 75% confident, it seems, the way you've been talking, that we're going to have a head coaching announcement, then we're going to know. That's what we're going to be talking about this time next week.
I think there will be a press conference this weekend in Lincoln. And wild card could be Wednesday. Before the Iowa game.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So my smart money would be on Saturday or Sunday, and then possibly before that on Wednesday.